Okay, this is epoxy slab table attempt number 2. This one is the one I wanted. This one. It's the one I worked on first before I built the flattening jig. So I got the flattening jig. I practiced on that other one and some other pieces, and I felt confident I wouldn't have a problem. So I flattened this one this morning. I took about a ½ inch on one side of the bottom, and then the top was at a crown in it, so the top was about a quarter high in the center. So I got that out, flattened it up. It's pretty darn flat. And so now I'm filling the big cracks. There's big cracks in it. So I'm gonna fill those first. This is my primer coat or base coat or whatever you want to call it. And this time, this piece is way easier, and I didn't stain it. So the problem with staining was obviously I'm gonna have to sand this before I reapply. So with this one, it's just raw wood. I can sand through the epoxy, hit the wood, and no worries. With the stained wood, I sanded through the epoxy, hit the stain, removed the stain, and then I had raw wood, so that was no good. This one should be easier, and so far it has. Look at my crock has got no epoxy in it. So I flipped it over, and I taped up the bottom, the cracked areas, with this Gorilla Tape, which seems to be working pretty good. And then I wrapped a band of tape around the whole perimeter of the thing, two wraps around, and then I made I taped it to the board. So it's basically a little dam. So even if it does leak, hopefully it can't get out. That's not a leak, that's a drip from the top when I was pouring it on there. So hopefully even if it does go through, it shouldn't come out. I don't think it's gonna come through because for one, the bottom of this is flat. The bottom of that other one wasn't completely flat, and I had it hanging over right there, actually, because there's still the puddle that will be there for 10,000 years. So the other piece, I probably should have done this one first because I would have learned a few things. So, but whatever, we'll see how it goes. So I still have inside the cracks. That one looks pretty good. This one still has air bubbles. I'm hoping they work their way out. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna try to do this with the torch so you can see. I don't know if that showed. Did it show how it pops the bubbles? It's cool. It's the best part of the whole thing. You get, especially when you get a thick coat on the whole thing, your final coat, and it's all hazy and full of bubbles. You go over it with the torch, and it's like instantly clear. It's pretty badass. Okay, that one, it's starting to look pretty good. So I'm gonna have to,
Beautiful!
You're gonna wreck my YouTube video. You're on YouTube video now. So it's gonna have to, don't touch it. It's gonna have to, I'm gonna sand it and reapply. And it should be all good. Okay.